We got genuinely bad jobs news from February. As we often do in the first part of each month, we get the jobs numbers from the previous month. 180,000 new jobs were expected for February of 2019. The actual number, just 20,000 new jobs. 180 expected, 20 actual. This is 89% shy of the expected number. Still, jobs were created, so in a sense, that's good. It's better to create jobs than to lose jobs, but remember that the population expands. The number of people who enter the potential labor force goes up each month, so you need some new jobs just to keep up with population growth, and that number, depending on which estimates you look at, is 90 to 145,000 new jobs just to keep up with new people that are of working age. So 20,000 new jobs is actually quite bad. Now, just like I did under Obama, I don't play these partisan games where I either sugarcoat or exclude information that's positive or negative on the basis of the party of the person in the White House. I'm not doing that. The same way that under Obama, I made an effort not to over or understate the importance of any one number, I'm also going to be totally upfront with you that this is not a clear trend under the Trump administration yet. There's some wage growth, not much more than inflation, but there is some wage growth. That's good. The unemployment rate is still low. That's good, although we're starting to sort of learn about what the sort of other side of low unemployment it can be in terms of a very difficult labor market for hiring people. But when you combine a job creation number that's 89% lower than expected with a newly downgraded estimate for GDP growth for this year, which we just received, that's not looking great. I think anyone who is honestly assessing the numbers would admit. Now, that being said, not everything that happens now is because of Trump, good or bad. There's no sort of like one point at which we can say, okay, from now on, everything that happens in the economy, everything that happens with jobs, everything that happens with the stock market, it's now only attributable to Trump, or it's still attributable to the previous president. This is very complicated stuff. Over a full term of a president, you can probably start to say that most of what we're seeing is more than likely the result of the policies of the administration rather than the previous president. That's the reality. But it's better to just not play political games with this stuff. That's unfortunately how our media and political system works. And there's a really important thing that I continue to bring up. All of these numbers are constructions, the unemployment number, job growth, all that stuff. I don't mean that they are made up, that the statistics are made up. But what I mean is job creation as we measure it, GDP growth as a measure of how the country is doing. It's all a construction. We've decided that these arbitrary measures tell us how the economy is doing. We accept that they tell us how the economy is doing. It's circular and it has no sort of independent existence. This is not like a moral relativism or nothing has any meaning thing. It's just that we decide what tells us how to evaluate the economy, and then we accept that those are good measures for doing so. There is a really strong case to be made, as I've been making for years, that a lot of these numbers don't really tell us much about the overall well-being of people in the country. They don't tell us anything about the damage that we're doing to the planet in terms of climate change and pollution and the environment. They tell us nothing about how the mere idea of infinite growth forever is a destructive and literally impossible idea, because at a certain point you stretch the planet to the end of its resources. Within the context where we accept that this is sort of how we evaluate how the economy is doing, these jobs numbers aren't good. But more broadly, what I go back to every month when we get a new report about expected GDP numbers or job growth versus expected job growth is that we have to figure out what the relationship is going to be of humans to work and to the economy around them, because it's changing very quickly. It's not politically popular to talk about, but if we keep ignoring it, we are going to end up at some point, it's not exactly when, in what I guess is, to put it in an understatement sort of fashion, a rude awakening about the world around us. The numbers are bad, but we also have much bigger issues that aren't being dealt with here.